Welcome to The Political Mechanic. My name is Stephen Thane, where we try to make politics and government more understandable. Today I'm going to talk about the two major worldviews that dominate government thinking, in fact, all types of thinking. One of them is natural law and the other is relativism. One supports limited government and the other always leads to tyranny, supports tyranny. And what tyranny is, it's the leaders of government who use threats against their own people in order to maintain order. Order out of fear rather than order out of voluntary compliance. So let's talk about natural law first. Natural law is the belief in eternal, unchangeable laws that govern the universe, that can be found and should be followed. They're outside the control of man. The roots of natural law come from Aristotle, Cicero, other ancient philosophers, and later Christian philosophers. The core idea is that law is based in reality. Right and wrong exist regardless of our opinion. Human laws also should conform to these eternal principles. Order and freedom are possible because people voluntarily seek to follow these eternal laws. And the major use of government is to stop those who want to use violence to get ahead in life. One of my favorite quotes is from Cicero, who was a first century Roman philosopher, who said, "Law," meaning natural law, "is not a product of human thought, nor is it any enactment of peoples, but something eternal, which rules the whole universe by its wisdom in command and prohibition. The same law, everlasting and unchangeable, will bind all nations and all times." So the promise of natural law is that it can unite mankind, not because we necessarily have total agreement on what natural law is, but we agree that natural law exists and can be found. So under natural law, language has a very specific purpose. The use of logic, fact, reason, common sense, and study of history is used to find these eternal truths. The focus is on what is real, not what feels good. So the use of numbers rather than emotions is the main focus. Because reality can be uncomfortable and even offensive to some. An example of this is President Trump's immigration policy. He emphasizes the rule of law, national borders, and the consequences of illegal immigration. It's based on facts. 10 million or more illegal immigrants crossed into the United States during the Biden administration, which increased crime. Almost half of all criminal cases in federal courts in 2023 involved illegal aliens, even though they make up a small percent of the population. And the social welfare costs have gone between $150 to $180 billion that the taxpayers have had to front. So Trump's policies reflect a natural law mindset. Law applies equally and justly to everyone. The ones who cross the border illegally are cheating by jumping to the front of the line, because America has a legal immigration system. The other philosophy that I want to talk about, relativism, and its offshoots, liberalism, progressivism, it's found in the Democrat Party. In fact, it's taken over the Democrat Party. Communism, socialism. Its definition is that the belief in it, truth and morality are subjective, that it changes by culture and by the individual. And individuals set their own standards. And if you think about this, the effect is, with no shared standards, it creates division because everybody wants their standard to be the standard. And it really ends up being about the accumulation of power over others. And it replaces emotional narratives, or replaces reason with emotional narratives and manipulated language. Language is used for manipulation. It's not to understand reality. So a policy example is that I'd like to give. The Idaho State Democrat chairman, her name is Lauren Necochea, wrote an editorial in the local newspaper on April 30th, 2025, criticizing President Trump's immigration policy. She called the illegal immigrant Kilmar Abrega Garcia as a Maryland man. She avoided mentioning the fact that he was an illegal alien, he was a member of the MS-13 gang, he'd been involved in human trafficking, and that he had been before 2 judges. So she implied, I think this is manipulation, that he was a United States citizen, that this could happen to any of us, we could be deported. And I also found it interesting that there was no accountability or apology for Biden's policy, that they didn't follow the law. There's no due process for those people coming in. They were not vetted, and now all of a sudden they want due process. In fact, more due process than the January 6th defendants got. So this reflects relativist manipulation of language. They're trying to reframe the narrative to avoid the moral clarity so they can get more political power, because they also want all these illegal immigrants coming in and allowing them to vote. So hopefully you can see the difference between natural law and relativism. And my goal is to increase the number of people who understand and are comfortable with the term of natural law. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed the thoughts expressed, because I really believe the future of our country depends upon more citizens discovering the value of natural law. Thank you.